Patrick, you can go ahead and ask the question because this one hits home.
So what are your thoughts on leaving your IRA to your spouse?
I get on a warpath mission for this. Your spouse absolutely deserves every bit of it. You know, that was my man. I was a cowboy. This is my cowgirl. I'm taking care of her. She deserves. She's the beneficiary. Louisiana, we're a community property state. She's going to get what she is due. Here's the problem, and it's a big problem. And what bugs me is a lot of advisors can't talk about it. Schmedberg Jones, Chase, Morgan Stanley, they can't. They're not allowed to talk about taxes. And it's an unfortunate thing because I think in a retirement plan, from a true retirement perspective, you have to talk about that and you have to address those things. And some advisory firms are not allowed to, and I don't really agree with that, but that's kind of what they're handed. Here's the problem with leaving a spouse in IRA. Remember, the funds have never been taxed at all. What happens when a spouse passes away? The year that the spouse passes away is the last year of tax filing of married filing jointly. The next year, the spouse files as an individual taxpayer, and the brackets are drastically different for an individual. Married filing jointly. And I'm going to just use this 25% tax bracket. Married filing jointly sits at about $75,000 to about $225,000. Go into a single taxpayer bracket, shove that all the way down to just over $100,000. And here's why I'm hitting this home. What else happens when a spouse passes? What benefit becomes lost? Social Security. What's that spouse have to do if that income is needed? Now it has to start being taken from retirement accounts to make up for lost Social Security income. Taking it from qualified accounts goes on top of every bit of income that is the last dollars to get taxed. So that's where it can put a spouse into the highest tax bracket where she sits. I gave a workshop back in May at the Hamilton branch, which is over off of Burnt Coons, the library, and the first thing a gal asked me was, are you going to talk about taxes on retirement income? Because my spouse passed away and I'm getting hammered and clobbered because of this. It's like my Social Security is now taxed. I don't have his anymore. And now I've got to pay the taxes on our qualified funds at a higher rate. This is a beautiful plan for our government. It is. It is a truly beautiful plan, and they understand that. We got duped into it. It's like, now it's unbelievable. And are there ways around it? Yes. Dave's going to talk about that in just a second, but putting this into perspective, and the reason why I have to bring this up is, ladies, there's an 80% chance you are going to be in control of the money. Guys, let's face it, we kick the bucket first. I mean, it's statistics. We go first.
80% of men die married. 80% of women die single.
Women have a 3 to 5 year lifespan after we do. This becomes a very, very big deal because us guys, like, we have to look out for. It's like, this is the love of my life. This is who I'm looking out for. In April, I gave a workshop over at Silver Star, and the couple had been into my office before. they were in 3 years ago. And my wife tells me, she's like, you got the weirdest memory when I can pick out the guy that was my GMC service advisor from 2007. She's like, oh, that's the service advisor, worked on the car, did that. How do you remember that? I was like, I don't know. Well, a couple comes in, and when I sat with them, I said, you guys were in our office in either 2015 or 2016. I said, what changed? And he huffed a little bit and got welled up, and it's like, I had a health scare, and I've got a condition. I want to look you in the eye, and you let me know that she's going to be okay. A very, very powerful moment, but it was a very, very real moment to sit with them and them to come in and go, I want you to be able to take care of her for me. It's heavy. But I was like, man, there's some weight in this room. But it was such a privilege to be able to work with them and go, yeah, I've got your back. And to watch their face when we ended up, they became clients, we're done, I was like, I've got your back. And it's like, that's all they wanted. It's like, I want to have somebody that's behind me going, I will make sure she's taken care of. I will absolutely make sure she's taken care of.
Okay, so the money hasn't been taxed. Remember when we got told we're going to put away $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month? We tax deducted it. We didn't. We delayed it. But now it's a big pile, and that's a big deal. So let me give you some examples here. If you have $500,000 in an IRA, number one, it's not all your money, because we have a partner in the deal, do we not? Uncle Sam. Some is yours. What about if we take a strategy where we change some of your IRA money, which is taxable, to Roth IRA money, which is tax-free? I had a lady in my office today, and she said, well, I thought I couldn't do a Roth because I'm not working. I said, you can't contribute to a Roth, but you can convert to a Roth. Doesn't matter if you're working or not, or it doesn't matter what age you are. And that would be a strategy that we'd want to take into consideration. Now, I'm going to make some assumptions here. We're going to assume that this person has a has a traditional IRA, 401k, rollover, whatever, big pile of money, and they're going to wait until they're 70 and a half when they have to start taking required minimum distributions. We're going to make three assumptions. One is the tax bracket is 25%. We just use that for round numbers, 20 for the feds, 5 for the state. The second assumption is we're going to assume that the money grows by 5%. The third assumption is we take required minimum distributions. We don't need it. And I'm in that situation. I don't need it. I have to take them. So after I've settled up with Uncle Sam, I put the money back in the same type of account that I make 5% on. Okay? So $700,000 in an IRA. Some of you saying, can I get that? I'm not quite there yet. Okay. Total taxes paid, $221,000 just on required minimum distribution. But then they take the money out, they reinvest it, and then over their lifetime, we're going to assume they die at about age 90, they pay another tax, $90,000 on the taxes on what they had to take out. And then when they pass away, there's another $143,000 that the family gets to pay taxes on. Total taxes on $700,000, $455,000. This is documented, so.
Big number. I ran this with my CPA too. He's like, your math is correct.
Okay, but what if they said, well, I'm going to spend my required minimum distributions? That's okay too. Same calculation. We still have $143,000 for the heirs. Taxes are $364,000. What if we convert to a Roth? What's that look like? Same assumptions. We're paying 25% tax. It's $175,000. Which now, you want to pay $463,000, $373,000, or $175,000? And by the way, and you got to trust me on this one, taxes are on sale today. I'm not going to get political, but I will tell you that the people who are running against Trump for the Democratic nomination are saying we want to do two things. One is we want to get rid of the Trump tax code, which means we're going to raise your taxes. That's what they're all saying. I'm not taking sides. I'm just speaking fact. The second thing they're saying is we're going to increase taxes. We're going to have to tax more people, fair share, all the other nonsense. But they're not doing that because we have a $22 trillion debt or a $1 trillion deficit. They're doing that because we want to have more programs where we give away free stuff. Is there free stuff? Free Medicare? Free college? Now that I paid my college loan off, I just finally got it paid off. They're going to now say we're going to forgive all your college loans. Okay. So you want to pay $455, $364, or $175? What if we paid $175? What if we just took the Band-Aid off all one time, ripped it off? You ever have to take a Band-Aid off years ago when they used to be made with super glue? You peel it off a little bit at a time and then pull in the hairs, or you just rip it off? What if we did it all in one fell swoop? Now, for illustration purposes here, we're not doing it in one fell swoop. We'll do it over a couple of years, but we're still keeping the tax brackets and the taxation the same. What does the balance after the 175 grow to over a period of time? So we paid $700,000, we paid $175 in taxes, we have $525,000 left over. Are we okay with that math? What do you think 525 grows to by the time you're 90? You didn't need it, you spent your RMDs, and then your family gets whatever's left over. See that number down there? $1,392,000, tax-free. My dad used to use a term called more better. He said, that's way more better. Would that make sense to you? 1.3 million tax-free. Okay. So there's some benefits to Roth conversion. We worked with a guy here not too long ago who was in the oil business. He had to retire. His wife got sick, and he said, I can't travel anymore. I can do local jobs, but his wife had cancer, and he said, I got to stay close by. So he had a big bank account, and we kind of worked with him and said, hey, for the next 12 months, while your income is zero, let's live off the bank account. And it was sizable enough that he could do that. What's his tax bracket? Zero, right? Okay. So we now started converting over a period of time to Roth. And the standard deduction today is about $24,500. So if we take $24,500 and his amount we put in or converted to Roth is $24,500, how much tax did he pay? Zero. So we converted taxable money to tax-free money. And that's what we want to do, because tax-free has a significant effect on your financial future as you go on. If you do that to a Roth, you have tax-free growth, tax-free distributions, tax-free to surviving spouse, no required minimum distributions. I did this in 2011 and 12. I converted a good portion of my IRA money to Roth. I bit the bullet, I paid the taxes, didn't like it, but I did it. I don't have to take distributions at 70 and a half now, number one. If I do, it does not go against the calculation for me for provisional income in terms of paying taxes on my Social Security. Number three, my wife and then my son, you've met 2/3 of my family today, by the way. I only have one son. Get that money income tax free. But I don't have to take it out. But if I do, it's tax free.